Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sir Celso.
Good morning, Mao. Good morning, partners. Good morning, SUSE team.
Thank you for joining us today. It is unfortunate that we have to reschedule our launch, but we hope that everyone is safe. Today, we will talk about openness, flexibility, and agility. These are the terms that, in my own opinion, that best describe SUSE. And if this is your first time to hear about the brand, you will be impressed to know that 78% of the Fortune global companies use SUSE Linux Enterprise. I got this information from the website. And by being open means you have the flexibility to adapt your business to address the most demanding IT environments, allowing you to deliver enterprise grade, open source, software defined infrastructure and applications. Sir Celso, we were discussing on the um, product, yung SUSE. If you could please share with us your brief understanding of
Yeah,
this
but first of all,
solution.
now I would like to thank as of now, we have more than 130 participants who have logged in. And I think more are joining in later on. And I see several familiar names in the list, but to those who don't know me yet, again, my name is Elsa Ravina. I had one of the business units here in VST ECS, and SUSE is one of those products in which we are launching now, Mao. Early on, we were discussing about SUSE, if SUSE fits SMB business in the Philippine market setting. What do you think, Mao?
I believe so, no? Especially now with the current pandemic, no?
Yeah, because
Everybody needs to transform, no? And regardless of the size of the organization.
during this pandemic, I believe that we're talking of digital transformation, no? And I'm particularly curious about how SUSE can be of help to those SMB businesses
Well,
and to our
we have our
partners.
experts from SUSA this mornings. I'm sure they'd be able to illuminate further on that question. Let me acknowledge first, Celso, before we delve more on information about SUSA. Let me first acknowledge the presence of our executives, starting off with our president and CEO of VSTECS Philippines Incorporated. We have Sir Jimmy Go. Good morning, Sir Jimmy. Also joining us this morning, our CEO and Executive Vice President of VSTECS Philippines Incorporated, Princess Chua. Good morning, Ses. Our first AVP for Technology and Product Solutions Group, we have Tom Pascual. Good morning, Tom. From SUSA team, we have Isabella Kusumawati, the Vice President and Managing Director for Southeast Asia, SUSA Software Solutions.
Mao, all the way from Spain. Hi, Isabella. Good
Good
morning.
morning, Isabella. Good morning. Mr. Lim Si Guan, the sales engineer of SUSA, is also joining us today.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sir Nang Hakbeng, the sales engineer manager from SUSA, is also with us.
Hi there, everyone.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
morning.
Once again, thank you for spending your time with us. To our partners, thank you for your presence and for giving us a time out of your busy schedules. And as our simple way of appreciation of your presence, we will have a raffle at the end of the program wherein we will be giving away Sodexo GC, and there will be five winners. We will also be sending a hygiene kit to the winners of the raffle and the VSTECS mountain
Mountain
bike.
bike. I'm
Yes.
excited about that now.
Yeah, and then to make the event more interactive, Sir Celso, we have
Yeah, we will have a spot game in which you will need to spot the chameleon icons in the speaker's presentation now. So look out for that. And the fastest person to type in the answer wins the game. And we will have 5 winners, and they will receive limited edition of Chameleon plus toy.
Particularly, you have to watch or listen attentively to the presentation of Mr. Lim Si Guan, as we will be doing the spot game during his presentation. But part of his presentation and Sir Nang Hakbeng's presentation, we will also be lifting questions for the quiz time. Again, for the product knowledge, we have 10 questions, 5 of which will be lifted from the presentation of Mr. Lim Siguan, and 5 questions will be lifted from the presentations of Mr. Nang Hakbeng. All in all, there'd be 10 questions for the product knowledge. All right.
Exciting now. I'm so excited.
Okay, let's keep the momentum up. Let me start with the opening and executive address from our President and CEO, Sir Jimmy Go. Sir?
Hello, good morning. First of all, I would like to thank you everybody for attending this product launching or the appointment launching of BST ECS as the SUSE Linux distributor in the Philippines. Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Isabella and the whole team of SUSE Linux for appointing BST ECS as the Philippine distributor. Okay. As probably we all know, we have moved our launch from previous weeks because of the typhoon Ulysses. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that according to Chinese tradition, our business will be so strong as the typhoon. So I hope that we can all work together. So we have added this new portfolio, new product line in the solution set of BST ECS.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. Moving on, Seth would like to say some few words, if you could.
Again, on behalf of BSTBCS, I would like to personally thank, of course, the SUSE Linux team for being here. Thank you, and for appointing us to be your partner, official partner in the Philippines. Also to all our customers for logging in and being with us here today. So my boss Jimmy said that rain is good; it means blessings. So we're expecting a very, very successful partnership among the three of us. And we would have preferred to see everyone in person, so we're social beings, and normally we do partner launches in person, but the team is VST ECS team is working very hard to try to give you the best virtual partnership launch that you can ever experience. So we not only focus on things that you can learn, but also in trying to make it more enjoyable for all of you. So for those people who have attended some of our launches before, you know how we do things, and that's why most of you are typing very, very fast now. I could never believe how fast you can type, no? Isabella and then team, you will see how sometimes the question just finished and they automatically the chat threads are like they type very, very fast. So it's also very interesting, and we can see that all of you are really excited to join our launches. So thank you very much, and we hope that today is going to be worth your time.
Thank you, Seth. That's part of the transformation. Actually, they are keyboard warriors now. All right. Yes.
Sorry, I just saw Philip typing in our chat box. Good morning, Philip. Thank you for joining us this morning. I think we have not introduced Philip because we thought he's on leave, but thank you for joining us this morning.
Hi, good morning, Sir Philip.
Good morning, good morning. I just thought I'd quickly jump in between a couple of calls. I know we moved from last week, so Isabella will do most of the introductions from our side at SUSE. But look, I wanted to see Jimmy say hi to everybody. So look, we're really excited, and we just can't wait to see the great things that we're going to do together. Yeah, and I'm sure under Isabella's leadership and Jimmy's leadership, we're going to see some great things, and we're all here to support. Right, we're all part of the same team. We all want the same things, and we'll learn to also type furiously and create our own storms that are positive rather than the opposite. So yeah, thank you so much for saying hello, and yeah, great to have VST ECS on board.
Thank you so much, Sir Philip.
Yeah, we're so delighted to have you, Philip, despite your busy schedule. Thank you so much.
All right, let us start our discussion with a short corporate overview or video of SUSE. Somehow, this will give you a glimpse of the strength of the brand and the solutions they offer. Roll video, please.
SUSE was born from the concept of the power of many. We are the largest independent open source company in the world, and our community-led innovation ensures that we consistently meet the needs of your business. We are here to help you simplify your IT infrastructure and support you to securely manage and run your applications. SUSE enables you to update your systems without downtime and achieve non-stop IT. This means you can always count on your IT solutions 24/7. With no disruptions and faster response time, you'll have a more engaged workforce and happy customers. SUSE is here to modernize your applications and prepare them for the future computing world. Organizations today want to achieve the benefits offered by the cloud while fully remaining in control. We offer one platform to manage your different environments as if they were one, giving you the ability to run your legacy workloads alongside your cloud-native applications. Are you looking for flexibility to move from your data center to the cloud or back? Our container and storage solutions are designed for your applications to be rapidly deployed, managed, scaled, and moved across any environment based on your needs. With open source, you can leverage cutting-edge innovation in the most cost-effective manner. Our solutions help you accelerate and scale your business through digitization. To leapfrog the competition, you'll want applications that deliver great customer experiences and provide you with the right insights to better drive your business. SUSE Solutions for AI, high-performance computing and analytics give you all you need to pioneer a new generation of solutions. SUSE also helps you to make a wide array of products more intelligent. Our proven Edge platform helps, for example, to digitize medical devices, 5G equipment and automobiles, allowing you to benefit from faster deployment cycles, the highest safety and security standards, and best-in-class support. With the power of many, SUSE will ensure your software solutions meet the needs of your business today and through the unknowns of tomorrow. Your digital transformation starts with SUSE, and we at SUSE have one goal: your success.
Okay, to formally announce our appointment, allow me to introduce Isabella Kusumawati. Isabella is the Vice President and Managing Director of Southeast Asia, SUSE Software Solutions. Isabella is a senior sales leader with 16 years of success in sales management, key account management, new market development, business development, stakeholder engagement, networking, and sales coaching for top tech companies including Salesforce, SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft. Isabella believes that the secret to winning sales opportunities is by truly believing in the company products, understanding the unique values they add to clients, and helping to shape the crucial buying journey. She has been a multi-award winner throughout her career, clinching top sales awards in the companies she has worked at. Isabella is an active member in Business Women Network and Women in Leadership, or LEAD. Okay, so may I call on Isabella, please? Please welcome Isabella.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning, Isabella.
Good morning. Thank you. First of all, I would like to say thank you for VST SES team to organize this event. I know it's not easy to organize a big virtual lounge like this. That's why I would like to say thank you for all of you. And also thank you for all the participants to attend this partnership launch. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Isabella Kusumawati, who will taking care of the business of Southeast Asia. It's been honor for us to have this partnership with the best and the most admirable technology partners in Philippines like VST ECS. SUSE itself have a reputable 28 years of engineering excellence and product innovation, and with the joint forces of collaboration with VST ECS, who already 22 years in the market and leading the ICT distribution industry, I believe that this collaboration will bring us a great opportunity to scale and grow Philippines, to embark digital transformation and becoming future ready. Our partnership with the VST ECS was started 8 years ago with Malaysia, followed with Singapore, and now Philippines. It shows how the business is expanding and the commitment from the VST ECS together with SUSE to help our customer to simplify, modernize, and accelerate. I think I won't consume a lot of your time, as I get a lot of excitement to hear more about how SUSE technology helps your customer. I hope the session is benefiting and insightful for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Isabella. And once again, thank you, SUSE, for the trust. Okay, at this point, allow me to call on the next speaker, our first speaker. Okay, so again, partners, please make sure you watch out for that chameleon icon during the presentation. So Mr. Lim Seguan, our first speaker, is sales engineer. Is our sales engineer. Okay, partners, we will also run the spot game after this pala. Okay, so please watch out closely to his presentation and find the chameleon icon on the slides. Okay, Seguan started his open source journey more than 14 years ago while working at a Fortune 500 data storage company, where he ensures compatibility between hardware components and operating systems as a product and partner lead. At SUSE, Seguan is part of the sales engineering team, where he supports the sales team and partners across Southeast Asia with his technical expertise in Linux systems. Seguan is passionate about open source technologies and is dedicated to contributing to the community in all ways he can. Seguan holds a Bachelor of Engineering from Nanyang Technology University. Seguan?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So thank you for having me. Let me switch to the slides first. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Seguan. I'm based in Singapore. I'm the sales engineer supporting the whole of ASEAN, including Philippines. So the topic that I'm going to cover today is building an open and agile infrastructure for new workloads and increasingly complex environment. Well, this sounds to be a very long name for a topic, but actually we can just summarize this into just one simple word: simplify. So just now the video that we have seen just now is a showcase of the SUSE vision. So let me reiterate the SUSE vision. Over at SUSE, we are trying to help enterprise simplify, modernize, and accelerate their business. So when we talk about simplify, it's normally with regards to IT environments, where you help customers achieve non-stop IT by reducing their downtime. And when we talk about modernize, it's more about applications. So bringing modern applications delivery methods to customer. And for accelerate, it is all about digitization. So it's making use of the latest trends of the ITs, such as AI, machine learning, and data analytics to help your business. So I'll be touching more on simplify, while Hubbing, my colleague, will talk more about modernize and accelerate. So this slide summarizes the modern IT landscaping. So as you can see from here, there's a circular diagram in the middle of the screen. So at the edge of the screen, these are the latest IT trend. So you can see software-defined infrastructure, edge computing, artificial intelligence, and container and cloud platform. As you move towards the center of the circle, you can see the components that contribute to all these latest trend. So for example, when we talk about software-defined infrastructure, we'll be talking about components such as networking, storage, compute. So in a software-defined sense, when we talk about container and cloud platform, we need to have a platform as a service. We need to have a container platform management platform. And we also need to have a multi-cloud management tool so that we can move containers all over your infrastructure from on-prem to cloud and back to other cloud. So artificial intelligence as well, you need to have various components such as AI platform, development, and framework. So as we move nearer to the center of the circle again, you'll see 4 key values that are very important to all enterprise: security, openness, certified, and enterprise ready. So without these 4 key values, it is very hard for IT infrastructure, for the company's IT infrastructure to achieve the kind of mission criticality as well as the evolution to the next level. So again, nearer to the center of the circle, you'll see how you can deploy your workloads in, whether inside private cloud, on the edge, on premise, or in the public cloud. So now we are at the very center of the circle. You can see a chameleon over there. This represents SUSE. So with SUSE, you can make sure that we enable you with our software and our support to achieve all your IT needs. So this slide maps our SUSE products to a modern IT landscaping. So as you can see, for every latest trend that is currently out there, we have products that supported it. So when it comes to software-defined infrastructure, we have our multi-modal operating system, SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. For storage, we have a software-defined solution called SUSE Enterprise Storage that's based on the community software called SAFE. We also have compute, which enables your workload to be running on top of virtual machines and containers. We also have software-defined networking and NFV. So for container and cloud platform, we have two products. So the first is a platform as a service product. We call it SUSE Cloud Application Platform, CAP for short. This is based on the open source project called Cloud Foundry. For container management, we have another product called SUSE CAS Platform that's based on the widely popular and industry standard called Kubernetes. So for artificial intelligence, we have our AI stack, that the AI playground and AI containers, whereby all the AI tools will be stored inside containers and it will be easy to launch and use by the customer. We also have our HPC, the high performance computing. And for the edge computing, we have something called SUSE Embedded, whereby it is to be deployed on the edge. A lot of your workload needs to be small and customized to specific hardware. So with SUSE Embedded, we can do exactly that. So we can make the footprint small, we can make it efficient and optimized to be used on the edge. So, okay, sorry. So at both the right side and the left side, you can see our SUSE services as well as our lifecycle management tool. So this tool encompasses all our SUSE solution stack. With SUSE services, you can count on our services team to deliver consulting services as well as more cutting edge support such as premium support. With SUSE Manager, you can ensure that all the different SUSE products can be up to date and secured and compliant. So again, nowadays a lot of times we are talking about solution rather than product. So this slide maps our solution to the products that we have. Of course, beneath all these solution, the core will still be our products. So in order to know how to apply the solution, you need to know SUSE product well. So later on, our presentation will be slightly product focused to give you a better understanding on what SUSE product is. So first and foremost, we are an open source company. So I would like to talk a little bit more about open source. So we are now the biggest independent open source company in the world. So we are really committed to open source project, and this slide shows all the different open source projects that we currently supported. So at the same time, I think it's good to know a little bit more about open source projects. So you can see here there's many open source software. So what is the difference between open source software and the software that SUSE sell? So the main difference is, for open source software, we will take this project and curated it and test it, and we bundle it together with different software, and we ensure that it is hardened and it is certified before we sell it as a form of subscription to customer. So when you have a valid subscription, you're able to get support and update and upgrades from us. So a major difference between open source software and subscription versus proprietary software and license is that you don't need to care about the versions. So for open source subscription, regardless of which version, as long as the version is still supported, you will be able to enjoy support and upgrades as long as you have a valid subscription. As compared to licensing and proprietary software, every time a new version of the software has been launched, you need to buy the latest version in order to use it. So this is a major difference between open source software and proprietary software. So to bear in mind. So I just want to emphasize the importance of open source software in the world right now. So according to Gartner in 2019, open source is now becoming the backbone for driving digital innovation. So in order to keep your IT infrastructure up to date and continue to evolve with the latest trends of IT, it is very important to embrace open source solution right now. So the gist of this slide is to tell you that SUSE solutions are always open, flexible, and agile. So we don't believe in vendor lockdown. So we believe in giving customer a choice to choose the best of breed of products that they wanted. So they can choose whichever products that they want, be it SUSE product, third-party other products, or even our competitors. So we always encourage customers to choose what they think is best for their IT infrastructure and environment. And in the event that something goes wrong, we don't knock vendor down. So the vendor can easily move on to another products that they think it might be better for them in the long term. So this is the vision that we feel we need to share with the customer. So again, I'm going to talk a bit more about our product portfolio. So I really like this slide because this slide is a good summary of the products that we have. So at the bottom of this slide, you can see that there's something called physical infrastructure. So we don't sell physical infrastructure. Rather, our products are built on top of this infrastructure. So we can deploy our products on top of this physical infrastructure. So be it a server, a switches, a storage, we can deploy SUSE Linux Enterprise Server onto the server itself. So moving up, the next layer, you can see compute, storage, and networking. So this basically represents your IT infrastructure. So in modern IT infrastructure, you will separate your servers out to be categorized as compute, storage, or networking. So a key thing that is a key thing for the new IT, for latest IT infrastructure is normally they'll be using software-defined infrastructure rather than just bare metal and physical products. So at SUSE, we have software-defined solution for all these different components of infrastructure. So for compute, we support virtual machines. We support all kinds of virtual machines. We support all kinds of virtualization technology, and we support your workloads to be run on container as well. For storage, we have our software-defined storage, SAF, as I mentioned just now, and networking, software-defined network, and NFV. So moving up, the next layer, we have the container management platform. So at SUSE, we believe in containers. We think that container is going to be the future of IT landscaping. So we think that using containers is the best way forward. And we are now using container to manage your software-defined infrastructure. So in fact, containers, you might be thinking that, okay, using containers, would you be able to manage virtual machine as well? So in upstream projects, there are some projects that is available whereby you can use, container as your management software and add in modules whereby these modules can be used to manage virtual machines. So SUSE is always evaluating new options in the upstream project. And whenever we see a good project that we can bundle together with our products, we will add it in. So normally for normal customer, a software-defined infrastructure and our software-defined infrastructure stack should be good enough. But for customer who have their own developers and develop their own software, they might need to consider having a platform as a service, which is our SUSE Cloud Application Platform. So SUSE Cloud Application Platform basically makes it easier for you to develop and then deploy your codes and your application. So again, at the side, you can see our global services and SUSE Manager, which manages the whole stack, the whole complete stack of SUSE solution and products. So with this, I'm going to talk a bit more about turning my focus to be more product. So first, I'll talk about SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, SLES. So SLES currently is, the latest version for SLES is SLES 15, but we are still supporting SLES 11 and SLES 12. So there's a total of 3 SLES versions that we are currently supporting. So SLES might seems to be just one product, but actually it encompasses a lot of things. So first, SLES supports all hardware architecture. So be it x86-64, be it Power, be it IBM Z or ARM, SLES is able to support and run on top of all this physical infrastructure. So SLES is also built for purpose. We have SLES that's built for SAP. We have SLES that's built for point of service. And we have a desktop version of SLES as well as a workstation version of SLES. We also have SLES that's built for real time. So when we talk about real time, it's normally referring to workloads that require, high precision and must be very deterministic. So normally this kind of workloads relates to industry that they are dealing with safety components, safety software, or such as the car feedback system, or those kind of industry that requires a lot of integration and a lot of collaboration, such as air traffic control and things like this. So we also have a SLES that is built for high performance computing. So high performance computing basically take many computers, put them into grid computing, and then enhance the power of many silo computers together. And with that, you can use the resource as one. So high performance computing does that by combining all the resource of individual computing together. And it is basically, and it is mainly used for AI, ML, and data analytics and things like this, all the latest trends of IT. So we also have something called LTSS, which stands for long-term service pack support. I'll talk more about that later. So on top of SLES that are built for purpose, we have SLES extension as well. So extension basically is an additional subscription that is on top of the base SLES subscription. So these extensions are mostly meant for mission critical kind of application and workload. So for high availability, basically is setting up your server in a cluster. So whenever one of the servers running an application went down, the other server can immediately take over. So this will ensure that there won't be any service downtime. For geo-clustering, is taking high availability to the next level by setting up cluster across different geographical locations. So for example, if one of the location has power failure and the cluster over there went down together, the other location, the cluster in the other location can come up immediately and take over. And again, it ensures no downtime. So for live kernel patching, this is also very important. So whenever there's a vulnerability that's out there, and whenever there's a new patch, a new kernel patch, I think a lot of IT admins will be faced with the dilemma of whether they want to continue running with the vulnerability still there, or patch it but incur downtime. So normally when you do a kernel patch, you need to shut down the system, you need to patch it and then reboot it. So for some of the applications such as database, this might take up to probably 1-2 hours depending on your hardware and the amount of database that you have. So this is the kind of downtime that you might not want, especially for a mission critical workload. So with live kernel patching, IT admins can dispel with this dilemma because they can patch the system and then continue to let the system running. So they don't need to reboot the system. They don't need to reload the kernel, or rather reload the patch onto the system itself. So this live kernel patching is really very important if you want to achieve non-stop IT and you want to achieve 99.999% uptime. So we also have something called support for heterogeneous Linux environment. So basically, we provide support for Red Hat system as well, for RHEL, for system running on top of RHEL. So this is mainly used when a customer has multiple Linux environment. They have both SUSE and Red Hat, and they might be thinking of just wanting one support rather than two. So to streamline their backend process. So when they think about this and when they wanted to shift all their support to just one support, they can think of using our support, our expanded support. So in the meantime, when they are thinking of switching their support from RHEL to SUSE, we can still provide support for them. So this is called expanded support. So before that, I need to emphasize that for /15, we call it a multimodal operating system. So as you can see from here. So what do we mean by multimodal? So a few years ago, Gartner talked about the term bimodal IT. So bimodal IT consists of traditional infrastructure and software-defined infrastructure. So Gartner think that back then, they think that going forward, most of the IT enterprises out there would need to manage two kinds of infrastructure. One traditional and the other software defined. But these two infrastructure doesn't come together. So it's two separate IT environment that they need to manage. Well, Gartner is not entirely correct in this. They are probably half correct because the current IT trend still requires two kind of infrastructure. But rather than managing them separately, these two infrastructure has already come together. So for most of the IT enterprises, they need to deal with a coexistence of traditional infrastructure, software-defined infrastructure, and application-oriented architectures. So in order to meet the requirement for both this kind of infrastructure, you need to have a multimodal OS. So as you can see from the requirements over here, the OS requirement for a traditional infrastructure and the OS requirement for software-defined infrastructure is very different. So we need to think of a way for a single OS to fit into both kinds of infrastructure. So at SUSE, for /15, we think about a couple of key concepts that enable this. First, the first concept that we have is something called common code base. So previously on /12, we have different codes for different hardware architecture. So we have code stream for x86, we have code stream for IBM Power and things like this. So for /15, we combine everything together into just one single code base. So with this single code base, it is silicon agnostic. So we can support all kinds of hardware architecture. You don't have to really care about what is the hardware, what is the code that you are using, as long as it is /15. And with this, it ensures consistency because the same code base is being used for all different kind of hardware architecture. So this also improves system management because you don't have to manage multiple different code streams. And hence, it leads to simplicity in support and services. So the other key concept that we have when we design /15 is the concept called modular plus, whereby everything is a module. So even for /, which is a product, we can break it down into multiple small modules so that we can reduce the footprint if there's a need to. So for example, if you are deploying your system onto the edge and you don't need a lot of other components, you can just simply take them out and just install those components that you think is needed. So with this, the workload can be optimized and performance can be improved because you don't need to load a lot of unwanted services and software. On top of that, the footprint is smaller. So the surface of attack is also reduced. So it adds, so it makes your OS and hence your workload more secure. So putting everything together, we come up with this multi-modal architecture. At the bottom, there's the common code base. And with this common code base, we can use the same code for all our products, be it software-defined product or traditional products that are meant for traditional infrastructure. So as you can see further up the stack, you can see our products. We have the SDI products and we have the /15 products. But at the heart of everything is still our Linux, our /15 that power all our solution. So at the right, you can see all our products can be used to run as a virtual machine, as a container, or as a bare metal. So this make /15 very holistic and can be run everywhere on all kinds of hardware architecture. So this is the product lifecycle of /15. So just now, as I mentioned, we don't really care about what version the customer is running, as long as the version is still being supported by SUSE. So as long as you have a valid subscription, regardless of which version that you're running, you're able to get support from SUSE. So when we talk about support, for every single major release, we have a support up to 13 years. So when we say major release, it is /15 is a major release, /11 and /12 is also a major release. So whenever you see our OS, you can see that there's something after the major release, there's something called service pack. So service pack is a congregation of all the updates, all the patches, and all the packages that has been done for probably 1 to 2 years, and it is all bundled together into a package. So every time, for every one or 2 years, we will release a new service pack so that you don't need to go back to the most original OS that has been released and update from there. So in effect, it consolidated patches and update together. So for every service pack that has been released, the previous, okay, let me correct myself. Whenever a new service pack has been released, the support for the previous service pack will run out within half a year. So this is something that you got to bear in mind. In order to still get support for the previous service pack, you need to get something called LTSS, long-term service pack support. And this long-term service pack support is an additional subscription. So this is for service pack. And when we look at the whole product as a whole, the whole major release as a whole, after 10 years, our general support will end. So in order to continue to enjoy support after the 10 year, you also need to get the long-term service pack support. So the total life cycle for a is 13 years, which consists of 10 years of general support and 3 years of extended support. So next, I'm going to talk about // for SAP. So // for SAP is our most popular product, and / and SAP has come together for many, many years. In fact, we have 20 years of joint collaboration and innovation, and SUSE is the market leader for SAP solutions. And I always like to say that the number will tell the real story, right? So as you can see from here, we have some numbers for you. So out of 70% of SAP applications running on Linux uses SUSE. 90% of SAP HANA installation also uses SUSE. And 100% of SAP Business One deployment uses SUSE. So this really shows our position as a market leader for SAP application. So you might be wondering what's the difference between SAP and / for SAP. So / for SAP is actually a mixture of SUSE products, services, and specific features. So as you can see from this slide, it summarizes the different components that make up / for SAP. So we divide these components into separate categories. So we have reliability and resilience and performance and things like this. So basically, if you get / for SAP, you will be getting a / subscription as well as a /HA subscription. So these are the two main subscriptions that you have when you purchase a SLAS for SAP. So on top of that, you'll be getting 24/7 priority support, as well as the extended service pack overlap support. I'll talk more about that later. So these are the main, support and product that you'll be getting if you get SLAS for SAP. As for the specific features, we have many features that is built into the OS that's meant for SAP application workload. So we have resource agent and cluster connector that make sure that for SAP application, the failover is as seamless as possible. We also have, as SAP HANA Firewall that is integrating into SUSE Firewall. And we have things like workload management, memory management, and support for NVDIMM. So this will ensure that the workload, the memory can be optimized, and performance can be optimized as well. So we also have something called SAP Conf and SAP Tune, which based on the guidelines of SAP, we can just use a guideline from SAP, normally called that SAP nodes, and apply the particular node into the SAP workload. So in that way, you can optimize your performance based on SAP guideline seamlessly. So we also have ease and use of deployment, whereby there's installation wizard, and we have public cloud platform images as well, and things like this. So it's really a very holistic kind of OS that's meant for running SAP application and workloads. So lifecycle. SLAS for SAP lifecycle is different from normal SLAS because we provide for every service pack that's been released, we provide 4.5 years of support. Remember, for SLAS, for normal SLAS support, every time when the new service pack has been released, within half a year, you need to upgrade to the latest service pack in order to and still continue support. For SLAS for SAP, when a new service pack has been released, you can still enjoy up to 3 years of support. So this is because as SUSE, we understand that for SAP application, a lot of customer is they are concerned that these are mission critical application, so they do not really want to keep on upgrading their OS for fear of jeopardizing their applications. So what SUSE hear this, and what we do is we extended the support without adding any additional cost to the customer. So for customer who is running for SLAS for SAP, you can rest assured that we provide very long support, and you don't need to really worry about upgrading your OS very often. So next, I'm going to talk about our next product called SUSE Manager. So currently, SUSE Manager is running on version 4. So this is the overview of SUSE Manager. Normally for modern IT infrastructure, minimally you need to have a patching server in order for you to pull all your patches from. So SUSE Manager is first and foremost a patching server, but on top of that, it is also a lifecycle management tool. So for example, if you have a server, you need to provision the server, you need to redeploy the server, you need to do management to the server. SUSE Manager can do all this. So on top of being a patching server and lifecycle management tool, the most and crucial functionality of SUSE Manager is it comes with DevOps capability, because it has SOT, which is a DevOps software built into SUSE Manager. So if you purchase SUSE Manager, you can get three different functionality. So first, as a patching server, second, as a lifecycle management tool, and third, as a DevOps tool. So it solves many needs at one go. So when we talk about SUSE Manager, the other key thing that we want to say is it manages not just SUSE product, it also manages other Linux distribution. So for example, SUSE Manager can also be used to manage Red Hat system, can also be used to manage Debian system and Ubuntu system as well. And regardless of where your workload is running on top of, be it on public cloud, on-prem, on various virtualization technologies such as VMware, Hyper-V or KVM, SUSE Manager can manage all these different, all these workloads. So SUSE Manager again is a very holistic software management tool that is very crucial to all IT infrastructure. So SUSE Manager, the other key thing that probably you need to ensure within your IT infrastructure is, to check vulnerability, to ensure and to ensure compliance. So SUSE Manager comes with two main tools to do this. First, something called CVE, which is meant to use to search and patch vulnerability. Second is something called OpenSCAP. So OpenSCAP is being used for security compliance. So these two tools are linked to the homeland security of the US. So they are in industry standards. So whenever there's a new vulnerability or there's a new security compliance rule out there, there will be database that is being managed by the agencies that's related to the US government, and they'll make sure that all these things are the most updated and the most crucial. So we'll be following, this tool will be following all this development closely, and whenever there's a new vulnerability, we can use CVE to patch it. So this will ensure that your IT infrastructure will be up to date and will always be compliant. So I just want to reiterate this DNAT distro that's being supported by SUSE Manager. So apart from SLAS, we will be also supporting Red Hat Enterprise Linux, CentOS, and Ubuntu. So with this, I come to an end of my presentation. So thank you very much for your time. And I understand there are some games right now for you to indulge in. So please enjoy. Thanks.
Thank you, Sigwan. Now it's time to announce the winners of our spot game. This has been a challenging game, Celso.
Yeah, I think so, because, well, first of all, we have to acknowledge our participants, our audience, no? They've been very active in listening to Sigwan's presentation. It must be with that chameleon thing, right? But I think we'll have 5 winners now, but how come everyone is typing in? I think in almost every slide we have that chameleon. So how do
But
we
of course,
proceed with
there are
that?
only 5 slides. Yes. Okay, yeah. But before I announce the winners, allow me to acknowledge the presence of Sally Louisa Chan. She's the field marketing manager handling Asian market from SUSE. Earlier on, we were also joined by Philip Miltiades. He's the president handling Asia Pacific and Japan. All right.
And now, thank you also to those asking questions. No, but we have one question here, and it was already answered by Hakbeng. And I know Jeff who asked that question. Ano? So, okay, so maybe it's time
All
to
right.
announce.
Thank you, Sir Celso. Let me begin with the first winner. That's slide number 5. The slide title is SUSE Solution Areas. We have Miss Aileen de Guzman. Congratulations.
Wow,
You were the first
Eileen,
person to send in
congratulations.
the correct slide number and
Wait, top
slide
notcher din si Eileen
title.
sa Kana list. Did you know?
Okay. In slide number 8, we have open, flexible, and agile SUSE solutions. We have Sir Alvin Vener Parocha as the winner. Partners, again, as we have mentioned earlier prior to the games, make sure you provide us the correct slide number, because I've noticed some of our players or our participants, the slide number is not correct, but the slide title is correct. All right, so you have to send in the correct slide number and title. So for slide number 11, that's a multimodal operating system, we have Miss Reina Jane Kabuga as the winner. And the next slide, it's slide number 15. We have a common code base, Joanel Dave Azarcon as our winner. And the last slide, slide number 25, check vulnerability and ensure compliance. We have Miss Marie-Chris Villar as the winner. For those who weren't fast enough Again, we still have 10 more questions. 5 questions will be lifted from the presentation of SIG1, and 5 questions will be lifted from Mr. Hakbeng for the quiz time. All right, moving on. Sir Celso, if you could please introduce our next speaker.
Okay, our next speaker is Nang Hakbeng, our sales engineer, manager of Asia. Hakbeng is no stranger to the Linux community, having been involved in open source software for the past 20 years. One of the highlights of his career is witnessing the growth of Linux from a hobbyist operating system in the early years to one that is relied upon by organizations today for mission-critical systems. As a sales engineer manager in SUSE, Hakbeng is responsible for supporting sales teams across Australia and New Zealand, Southeast Asia, and South Korea, along with his team of pre-sales engineers. Hakbeng is always eager to assist customers and partners in their journey with open source solutions, especially in building multi-cloud solutions as part of their digital transformation. Partners, please welcome Mr. Hakbeng now.
Thank you all. Right. So once again, thanks to ECS for running this session for us. Really happy to be a part of the panelists, right, to present to you SUSE solutions. I've also seen some familiar names in the attendees list, and thanks for joining us. Without further ado, let me just start with the presentation. So again, we like to use big names, for our slides. So for this session, we're going to be talking about meeting the increased expectations with transformation and innovation. Essentially, what we're talking about, right, is to bring to you our cloud application delivery solutions, right? Okay, I shouldn't say it's cloud, but it's actually both available on-prem, on cloud, and also hybrid, right? So if I can get this started. Okay, there it is. So as Segwan mentioned, while he was doing the slide, he did bring up this slide, and I made sure that I also have the same slide to have some continuation. So I'll be talking about the modernization, how we can transform the business, and also the acceleration, right, to scale, right, the business. And today's needs, we are really looking at the global, right, market, right, potentially simply because we are such a connected society today. Excuse me. So accelerate delivery of modern application, right? What do we want to do? We want to be able to speed up the innovation, right? Again, we are competing in a global market. Yes, while Philippines is still primarily a very much, a local market with some exports, but very much we also want to be looking at the ability to reach out to beyond, right, that local market. Philippines is already a very huge market that we can consider, and you'll find that many times there are delays, right, with certain web applications, and that's because the demand has increased such that the applications and the resources have not kept up with it. So what we really want to do is to be able to reduce the cycle times, right, so that we can be able to develop the applications faster, right? And if we can deliver the applications into the cloud, we will be able to evolve, we'll be able to make sure that our products reach to more people at a faster time. But more importantly, if you look on the left side of the slide, we're talking about stability, right? What we do not want is to have something that's developed in a much faster pace than before, but it causes stability issues. Accelerate application development and delivery. So as I mentioned, right, what we want to do is really to cut our development times. Now, traditionally, if you look at how we've been developing software, it usually takes about, I would say, 2 years, right, to come up with a new version. Of course, there are minor upgrades in between, but we want to be able to develop, applications that is generally stable, and that has been always the time. But today, if you look at the applications that are being developed, we are looking at 6 months time frame, right? So in fact, when the slide here tells you that we've cut our cycle times in half, realistically, it should actually be, right, more than that. Right? And at the same time, in order to do that, we want to ensure operational stability. Right? So whenever we develop such applications, it becomes very difficult to maintain over time because it gets bigger and bigger. Right? Just think about, Sekon mentioned about SAP applications. Right? The application has been around for so long. It's going to be very difficult, right, to make any code changes in a very short span of time because a lot of testing needs to go into it. What about Microsoft SQL Server, right? Same thing, it has evolved over time. The lines of code inside there is so huge, it's going to be very difficult to be able to come out with new versions in much shorter time. Right, so how do we go about doing all these and helping customers, right? It's really about containerization. Right? Containers help enterprises accelerate IT. And how is that done? Right? If you look on the first box that we have here, accelerate application development and delivery. Generally, the gist of it is that instead of doing the standard way of developing software, where we have a process, right, a very structured process called SDLC, right, System or Software Development Life Cycle, where we tend to make changes only at the end of the whole cycle. That process is great. Right, it's been able to help us, produce, very mature, very reliable software over the last 20 years, 30 years. But however, if there are new customer feature requests, we cannot address it fast enough. Right, we will have to, wait till at the end of a cutoff date, and then we look at it. Now today things have changed. We talk about DevOps, right? We talk about containerization. Something that we will always refer to is something called microservices. Right? That's taking a very big application, right, and break it down into small little components, and these components are called microservices. And that kind of is represented by the second box, right, where we have small little all these boxes. That should be hexagons, right? That represents each of these microservices. And collectively, the whole of these boxes becomes one of the applications, right? So what we're looking at is to be able to change the way how people develop their software so that it becomes smaller. Now then, how does that accelerate application development? It's really about being able to tackle a small problem at a time, right? If you need some feature improvements, you need maybe fix some bugs. Imagine if you have one application, you break it up into 20 little microservices. You only need to fix one without affecting the rest, right? Whereas if you build, what we call a monolithic application, that's one big chunk. When you fix anything, what you are worried about is how does that affect other parts of the code? And you won't know, right, until you test it out. So that whole testing phase becomes very difficult. And what differs from SDLC versus, what we are calling DevOps, right, is the ability to be able to change features, change the design very quickly, because there's a feedback mechanism that allows us to go into the cyclical modes, right? And it goes into the operational side where we deploy things that needs to be changed, goes back into the development. And within the development cycle, it goes through this whole same process also, right? And that allows us to be able to cut the development time down. In the second box, build and deliver new cloud native application. What we're trying to do, right, is really to be able to put small little application that can scale very well in the cloud, right? For example, you can develop it in-house, you can run it in-house, but you can scale all the way to the cloud, and it can be multiple clouds, right? So, as an end user, the customer, right, will feel that I will choose the cloud that best fits my needs, rather my requirements, right? And usually price tends to be a very sensitive topic, right? And that will be one of the major considerations for which cloud platform to adopt. And what we provide is the ability to be able to switch around, right? So that whoever gives you the best price, you can switch without having to, lift. Well, it's not as simple as lift and shift, simply because, for existing virtualization, way of doing things. You can't really deploy on demand onto the cloud. You have to have a template there and deploy the applications from there, right? Whereas once you go into the containers, your containers is just a small piece of software that is very portable, meaning that you deploy it on-prem, and if you need to scale, you can scale into any of the cloud, right? Without having to set something prior, as in the template, right? You can actually use the platform and it becomes an extension of your on-prem platform. And then from this way, we can modernize legacy application, which is what I mentioned before, the ability to have a platform that allows you to use in the same environment, legacy application, but yet gives you time to be able to scale, right? Well, not scale, but transform your application into microservices, and then you can scale from there, right? So containers allow enterprises, right, to accelerate IT. So please feel free to ask questions, in a chat, and I'll get to it once I'm done with the presentation, right? So the modernization journey would really be to containerize, right? Modernize, and that depends on whether if you're going to be using your legacy application first, then obviously you want to containerize it first, right? And then you can actually modernize it by redeveloping your software, redesigning it that is considered cloud native, right? Using microservices. Then we can formalize it, right? To make sure that we are able to put in the best practices, right? Because one of the key things is, if you don't have a formalized, process, essentially your application lifecycle management may require, some fixing in the future. So it's better to do it now than later. And then once you're done, you can standardize it, because you're going to be, churning out more applications, and because it's structured in that sense, you have a process to be able to develop and roll out very, very quickly. So that's how you can scale, and you can scale to multiple clouds. Excuse me. SUSE application delivery solution overview, right? So just very quickly, I want to go through what does it consist of. Saquon has already more or less mentioned about it, but I'm just going to, re-emphasize the components. On the left, you look at green. Obviously, that's our corporate color, and I always like to, say that green is always good. So we have SUSE CAS platform, which is basically the container infrastructure in the market today. Now, bear in mind that we do actually have a new, if I can say a new product. SUSE is almost completing the acquisition of Rancher Labs, right? I understand there are some customers in Philippines that are looking at it. The usual telcos, I think the banks are also looking into it. So this is where it becomes very exciting for us, because that is the direction of the future. So if you're not already onto containers, please contact us. We'll do some enablement, or at least we provide some information so that you can educate your team. So when I mentioned about the Rancher plays in the same field as the CAS platform, right? So the direction has not been finalized yet, so I can't announce anything at this point in time. But potentially, right, you will have two solutions to choose from: container as a service platform, or the Rancher, the cloud management, the multi-cloud management platform. So that gives you the infrastructure for containers. And then we have what we call the cloud application platform that allows us to run as a PaaS, right? Platform as a service. This means that you can actually have something similar like what you do on AWS, on Azure, where you can have a template for both containers. In this case, we are using containers. For containers, where you can then say, for example, right, I have a team that requires to push out, this web application, and all you really need to do is to run, right, the user interface on cloud application platform. It will automatically build, right, your application. If it requires compilation, it will compile for you. If you have some DevOps tool, pipeline, right, for you to do testing, and then subsequently be it security assessment and all that, that can then be done before building it into a container. And then what we call the endpoint would usually be either the on-prem the container platform, which could be CASP, right? Or it could be other, or any of our competitors like, VMware. And then that also includes cloud solutions or cloud platforms like Microsoft, AWS, and Google, right? We are growing that platform to make sure that it runs well. So which means that customers will benefit, right, from a wider range of products that can give you the best cost effectiveness, right? So I think Sekwan also mentioned, right, one of the things that our design methodologies has always been to ensure that customers have a lot of choice, and that's what open source is all about. It's all about choice, and more importantly to us, right, is that we do not lock in customers. But we do want to do that because that's not healthy in the long run, because how long can we maintain the customer relationship, right, if we build this kind of lock-in things within our products? So we don't do that. So this means that our products are all very much based on open source standards. So be it our CAS platform, be it Venture, be it our cloud application platform, right? You're able to switch to other competitors if you feel that our products are not well, for whatever reasons the customer choose not to use it, right? So I think that's one very important point. And this is another view of how it fits all in together. This is to help you understand where we play in, right? So right at the bottom is the cloud or your on-prem infrastructure. And I think Sekwan did mention a couple of these products that we have, like SUSE Manager, which is our system management platform. Of course, we have SLAS also that can be running at this layer, right, providing the infrastructure. And then you have the container orchestration, like on the right now you are seeing. Didn't mention this, but we base it on Kubernetes for our container platform, both Venture and CASP. And then moving upwards, right, we have a platform management services, or we call it a platform as a service. It's based on Cloud Foundry, right? And of course, then we can put customer workloads either on top of our CAP product, or if the containers does not require any special, build mechanisms, or you're just using just a container from some repository, you can easily just push it out from the repository directly into our container orchestration layer, right? So again, this is based on Kubernetes, and CAP is based on Cloud Foundry. All right, so what is the value? We are looking at increased agility, reducing cost, right? And I think this is actually one of the big part of customers' consideration. So do make sure that, if there's any customers who are concerned about cost, do check with us. We definitely want to, help the customer. And then the enhanced flexibility, we are able to, really deliver the applications, right, and scale out in a lot of platforms. What I didn't mention was actually Alibaba Cloud. We could actually put it there also if it's required. Okay, so I think this is pretty much just more or less a kind of a summary slide for what we've been talking about. Container infrastructure for today's business, right? We want to make sure that customers are able to deliver the applications faster. And this could also be for, a partner. If you are doing, this kind of hosting for customers, right? You want to provide, a PaaS solution that can also be done. Succeed with hybrid cloud, as I mentioned, because of our platform that is multi-cloud capable. This means that customers get the flexibility and the benefits of, be it in terms of pricing or in terms of feature, from whichever cloud that provides the features that's required. Guide the data upsearch, power AI and analytics. That is also an interesting point, because we do actually have a product that's coming out in December, which is designed for researchers, right, who wants an infrastructure for doing AI and analytics, right? So we're building a container that contains all the libraries, so that if a researcher wants to look into AI stuff, they can really just take the container, right, put the software in there. The libraries are already included inside the container. So that would be to help the researchers into really building applications that is useful for their needs and don't have to consider about all the dependencies in terms of the infrastructure. And last but not least, innovate at the edge. There are some discussions going on with prospects where we are building technologies with them. In Singapore, we actually have, we are talking to well, as I said, the prospect that is looking at innovating using edge technologies. And that's very exciting for us because we are there to be able to help and discuss with the customers, right? The prospects, right? How our technologies can help them deliver, their vision. And that's where we are today. Okay, so this is just a view, right, to make it easier, trying to summarize it as simple as possible, our application delivery solution, where we have the cloud application platform and SUSE test platform, which either can be on-prem usually, which you can then scale out, right, to AWS, Google, and Microsoft. Okay, next section, we just some use cases, right, for application development. So if you're an application development house or customers has an application development house, they can use it to automate, right, the application deployment using CAP, right? So of course, with CAS is just the platform, the container infrastructure. With CAP, you're able to automate application deployment, right? And then it has multiple languages they can use, be it PHP, be it Node.js, any forms, right? Even if you want to build a database into a container, that can also be done. But at this point in time, we are using brokers rather than containerizing the database. It still can be done, but we do support the community, what we call build packs. Leverage third-party services, accelerate testing and debugging. So this is part of the DevOps, where we want to be able to test and debug using automated processes, CI/CD integration with CI/CD pipelines. Again, DevOps, where we want to make sure that your process of developing an application, you may already have that pipeline ready. We can integrate with it rather than ask you to use our pipeline and change the whole process. We do want to do that, right? We want to make sure customers, whatever they're used to, they will continue using that and then deploy into any environment. All right, application operation. So if in the event that there's no developers, it's still part of the operations that's required, where we can deploy and scale very quickly, automate that's where we are saying, right? Automate application scaling, troubleshoot and optimize running workloads, because we have a reporting tool that tells us where are the problem areas. Should the demand goes up, right, we can scale out, right? But if you did not do the scaling, then we're going to see where the problem spots, because of the inbuilt functionalities for logging, monitoring, we can easily troubleshoot it, secure and optimize distributed application, and that's where the focus is a lot into security of containers these days, right? That's why we call it DevSecOps. All these can be integrated in. Migrate application to a new cluster, that can be done very easily. Last use case, platform management, right? Rather than have to do things very manually, we are looking at using, the cloud application platform, right, to be able to push out workloads, to be able to control your environment, right? If let's say today AWS provide you with, a better pricing and you want to move all your workloads there, it can be done with a few clicks, right? You can migrate all your workloads over there, so you can control the environment. Support heterogeneous loads. It can be on cloud, it can be on-prem, right? It really depends. Data sensitive, workloads, right, should still be on-prem if that's the requirement. If let's say you need just the front end, right, to support all the connections in, that can still be hosted onto the cloud, right? So all these different ways, right, of supporting heterogeneous workloads is possible, right? You can update your cluster. The lifecycle management is actually very mature, very effective. So you don't have to worry about the problems in the past. How do I update this? How do I update that? Maximize operational efficiency, and that's because there's a process. These are not done manually. These are done using the applications that can help you to optimize that. Manage complex environments at scale. This is where our products are very strong in. Because we know that at some point customers will be running their workloads on very complex networks, if not already. So it could be on-prem, it could be on cloud, and we want to make it easier for everybody. Right, so that pretty much concludes the container and the cloud application delivery solution. Just want to quickly touch on a few slides on the partner program. For those who are keen, right, if we've done our due diligence in educating everyone with our products and solutions, and if you find that SUSE can be a partner that you can work with, right, do check out our One Partner program. We like to say that right now, with our biggest competitor being acquired by IBM and no longer an independent company, we are now the largest independent open source company. Right, so do take note that we value our partners and we work very closely with our distributor like ECS. Right, we want to make sure that we provide you with the necessary tools, right? Be it training, right? Be it funding for some marketing programs. Do let us know. We are very keen, right, to work with you. So the partner program consists of 3 tiers: silver, gold, and platinum. Right. So when you register at partner.suse.com, you will have to meet certain requirements. Right, and once you meet the requirement, you will be tiered accordingly. Obviously, everyone will start with a silver tier, and then you will move on to the platinum, and you can see the benefits from here. I'm sure we will make available the slide to you at the end of the session. So just take a look into the slides, and if you're curious about the different tiers and the benefits, or even contact any one of us, and we'll make sure that we get you the information you need. Right, so support. Right, partners do get support. They also get some registration keys, right, to test out our software, and you can use in your environment for your own learning purposes. We do also have services that we can work with the partners. I think this is where most of the value will come in, right? As an open source company with a subscription support, we do not provide on-site to customer unless they want to pay what we call a premium support engineer, and that's the highest tier where we will require a huge investment from the customer. And in our market, where there are a lot of developing countries, I think that price becomes a bit exorbitant in that sense. So we always want to work with the partners to provide these services. That's something that we can't do, right? And that's where the value, right, of our partners is, and that's where you can make a lot of money from. So we would like to make sure that the partners who have interest do contact us, right, and visit partner.suse.com. As I mentioned, training is available, right? So if you signed up, we do have on-demand training, and we do have instructor-led training also. For Southeast Asian market, we go one step beyond. We work with the training centers in Philippines, and we have our instructors who will come down, right, to help, right, with that training to make sure that we can deliver the best, right, about SUSE solutions to our partners. So unfortunately, we are not able to travel even probably until next year, but I do hope that we can come by, right, to do that training, right, to do the enablement with you.
Thank you, sir. At this point, partners of our upcoming. Thank you. At this point, Sally Louisa Chan, the Field Marketing Manager of SUSE handling Asia market, will do the closing remarks.
Sorry.
There you are. There you are,
Hi.
Sally.
Hi, thank you everyone for attending this webinar. It's been a pleasure having all of you here. And I would like to take this time for Isabella to bring us for the closing remark.
Okay, thank you everyone. Especially thank you for all the speaker, for Seguan and Hakpeng for a great presentation, and congratulations for all the winner. It's really insightful presentation anyway. So I guess the event is coming into the end. Once again, thank you for the VST, ECS, and all the participants to attend this session. Please remember to sign up the SUSE One Partner Program to get all the benefit on which VST ECS team will be able to help you, which I saw that Marianne is already shared with you. It's a great promo for from the VST ECS team, right? So I'm looking forward to welcoming all the partner in SUSE One Partner Program with VST ECS Philippines. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe and keep healthy. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Isabella.
Thank you, Isabella. At this point, maybe we can have our survey first. Partners, if you could please scan the QR code for you to join our survey. We would love to get your feedback. On behalf of VSTECS and SUSAT team, maraming salamat for joining us today as we announce our partnership with SUSA. Partners, if you have, again, as I've mentioned earlier, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to Marian Angeles, our product manager. But, you can also contact, of course, Sir Celso for additional information. In case you can't contact Marian, then Sir Celso would be your last resort. Okay. On behalf of, again, SUSA and VSTECS, maraming salamat. Thank you, Hakbeng, Seguan, Isabella, Sally, and Sir Philip.
Of course, Philip.
For
Yeah.
the trust. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much, partners.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, partners.
everyone.
Please
Thank
stay
you.
safe. Thank you, Isabella and team.